Alright, chili con carne, or chili as it's known more widely. I'm going to run through the ingredients. I've got 750 grams, and this is Aldi's Ashfield Farm beef and pork mince. Beef and pork is probably a little closer to the original Mexican recipe for picadillo, which was basically just meat cooked down in a sauce. The beans were introduced later, and it's probably a construct that was made up somewhere in the United States of America, probably in one of the southern states like Texas. I don't know enough about it, but there we go. In addition to the meat, I'll just run round the outside and then into the inside. I'm going to add some Moruga red Trinidad hot pepper. This is dried Moruga red in flakes, and Moruga red is more known for its flavour than its heat. It's got an excellent flavour and it does have some heat. I'm also going to add a smaller amount of Trini scorpion pepper, which is ferocious. It's a ferociously hot pepper, so I'm only going to add a little bit of that because I want this to be a really flavoursome, a really delicious dish. I've got a couple of beef stock cubes, which are some beef stock gels, and I've got a can of red kidney beans, which I will drain. I've got a carton of passata, and that's a 500 gram carton of passata, which is just sieved Italian tomatoes. You can use a can of chopped Italian tomatoes in its place. I particularly like the texture this passata gives, and I don't buy passata with fancy flavourings in it. I just like the plain tomato one. I have my own fancy flavourings, thank you very much. I've got some ordinary red chilli flakes. I've got about 2 teaspoons there, and the next one is one of my favourite flavours in the spice world, and that is lovely, delicious, smoky chipotle chili flakes. Chipotle is a dried and smoked jalapeno pepper, so it gives a wonderful depth of smoky flavour. I got 4 quite generous cloves of garlic. I've got a brown onion, which is a decent sized brown onion. I've got some whole roasted cumin, around about 1.5 teaspoons, 2 teaspoons of that. I've got 2 little bay leaves from my own garden. They will add a nice layer of flavour to the sauce. I've got some tomato paste, which is about a tablespoon of tomato paste, and a generous teaspoon of dark muscovado sugar. You can use molasses if you've got it, dark muscovado, or you can use soft brown sugar. You don't need a lot of it, but I use it to balance the fierce heat of the scorpion pepper, and also it gives the meat a beautiful sheen, a shine, and makes it very presentable. Right, before I start turning this into an amazing chili, I'm going to do a couple of shout outs. Right, the first one is not for the easily offended. It's Chris the Butcher. He doesn't hold back on his language. Chris the Butcher and friends, and if you use hashtag Team CTB, that's Chris the Butcher. I'll put a link up here somewhere to all these channels. Another one is Mark's Remarks. Mark's he does budget home cooked meals and reviews, and he packs a lot of information into his videos, so give him a look and check out his channel. Another one is Cook You Bastards. This is American chap. He does easy and fun cookery and kitchen magic. I don't think there's a lot of profanity in his videos, but despite the fact he's got that word in his name, but I quite enjoy his videos, and he's just getting over a bout of pneumonia, so go over to his channel and give him some love. And there's also Rick's food channel. Rick, he does mukbangs, which he sits there and eats a meal in front of you and gives you his opinion on it all and talks his way through it. And he tends to concentrate on fairly good budget foods. So all of it is similar vein to my own stuff. It doesn't cost the earth, and it concentrates on cooking within a fairly tight budget, and also it's about fun and a little bit of mischief. So check out all those channels, and the link, as I said, will be up here. Right, onwards and upwards. So first of all, I'm going to get all this prepped. Alright, there we are. I've got the lid lifted off the meat, I've got the onion chopped up, and I've got the garlic chopped up, and everything's just about ready to go. I've got myself some spoons for tasting with, and I'll show you the amount. I'll only be adding a little bit of the scorpion pepper and a little bit of the Moruga red, maybe a little bit more Moruga red, because I don't want to go too crazy on the superheat. Okay, so I'm just going to shift focus now to my cast iron pot, and we're going to cook from there. Okay, I'm just heating up my cast iron pot. As you can see, old Spoonzilla sitting on the top, trying to rub the limelight as usual. I'm going to show you this olive oil I've got. Aldi do a number of different olive oils. This one is this comes from the Kalamata region in the southern Peloponnese in Greece, and as the name suggests, it's probably from Greek Kalamata olives. There are still some good and decent olive oil producers out there, and we need to support them, because the recent scandal, the big producers have been cheating on us for years and years and years. There are still some good, decent olive growers that need our support, that need our help, and extra virgin olive oil is superb olive oil when it's the genuine article. And I've been using this now for a couple of weeks, and I'm really enjoying it. So if you get yourself into Aldi, have a look for that bottle. I quite like that one, and it's a protected designation of origin olive oil, and it is extracted from prevideo Kalamata olives grown in the southern Peloponnese region of Kalamata in Greece. There you go, and it's got all the stamps on it, authentication stamps on it. Okay, so I'm going to pour a generous glug of that into my pot. You need plenty of oil to start this off. You can always drain some off afterwards, but you do need quite a lot of oil to get this started. So to that end, let's just get that nice and a good strike heat, and a good indicator of that will be I'm throwing in all the teaspoons of the cumin. I love the flavour of cumin, and it is a genuine flavour of chili. And certainly of Mexican food, because it's used extensively in Mexican cookery. So I'm just going to warm those up till they pop, and then I'll get some onions in there. Let's get that in. And as you see, you get a decent strike heat on it. So at this point we can get in the onions, and I don't want to get the garlic in just yet. I just want to get the onions in for now. And there's a reason for that, and that's because garlic has a much higher sugar content than onion, and it will start to caramelise and burn before the onions are ready. So I want to get these softened down a little bit before I add the garlic. So we give that a stir, and the cumin seeds were pre-toasted, so I buy toasted cumin seeds instead of adding all the chilli and the cumin like I've done, you can actually buy a proprietary brand chili powder, but I prefer not to. I prefer to go this route because I control what goes in, where and when it's cooked, and I know by experience that gives me much better results. So there we go. I particularly like the whole cumin in this dish because it adds an interesting element to the finished chilli. And it's not spiky, it doesn't catch in your throat or anything like that because it cooks down. And by necessity, we need to cook down the meat for quite a while to get it all nice and tender. Don't just assume it's going to be tender because it's minced up. There we go, so give that another minute or two, get it nice and translucent. That's starting to go nicely now. It's only like half a minute to a minute. And in goes the garlic. I put all 4 cloves of garlic in. Why? Because like Chris the Butcher says, I love garlic. I love it. There we go. And now we've got the garlic in there, we can get the meat in. Oops, see that bit on the bottom? Let's lift that off. Now remember, this is pork and beef mince. The advantage of using pork and beef mince, apart from it being slightly more authentic, is that you get the 2 flavoural elements within it. So you get an extra depth and richness. So the original meat sauce in Mexico would have been called picadillo, as I said. And the other thing that they eat in Mexico is something called frijoles refritos, which is refried beans. And I think the origin of this wonderful, what is really a Southern American dish in origin, is probably an amalgamation of those 2 dishes. So it's probably an amalgamation of picadillo and frijoles. And I don't know if you've ever had refried beans. I might do a recipe of it one day, but because it's an amazing dish. It's such a fantastic flavour, and it really belies the simplicity of its ingredients. So if you want to see my recipe for frijoles refritos, let me know in the comments below. So I'm browning off that meat now, making sure it's all thoroughly browned off. Keep it moving and keep the pan really hot. Alright. And my friend Taste of Trini will tell you, and I will back her up, that any food cooked in one of these cast iron pots, don't know why, but it just tastes better. Everything seems to taste better. It just cooks more evenly. I don't know. Maybe it's just my mind working on it, but I tell you, it really does taste better. There you go. Right. I want to get that brown before I do anything else. Spoonzilla's having to work for his lunch today. There you go. And a good chilli you can use in so many different ways. You can use it on a baked potato. You can put it just on plain white long grain rice. I like to serve it with nachos as well, you know, with some as a sauce to go with tortilla chips, and lots of other ways you can serve it. Limited only by your imagination, my dear gastronauts. Limited only by imagination. Right, let's have a look at this. So everything's browned. Now we want to get it to the stage where it starts to cook and cook down. So let's add the tomato passata That's half a litre, 500 mils of sieved tomato passata. Alright, so that's pretty nice concentrated tomato flavour going in there. And at this stage my little bay leaves can go in. Bay leaf 1, bay leaf 2, and also all my chilies can go in. So there's the chipotle flakes going in. There's the standard red chili flakes. Give that a stir. Get it all mixed in. Oh, the smell of that chipotle is just awesome. Oh, I love that smell. I love that smell. That is so good. And into that now, I'm going to put my tomato puree. I'm going to put in the sugar. And I'm going to drop in my 2 stock cubes or gel stock, whatever you want to call it. It's stock, and it saves me boiling bones for hours. There we go. I particularly do like those jelly ones. They are rather nice. I know I get the generic OXO ones, but there are also really nice ones made by Carne. I believe they're a Swiss company, Carne, but they sell all around the world. So that's got that going. Let's get in. I'm going to top this up now with some water, and I've put in half a litre of water, and as you see it's just covered up the meat. And what we're going to do, boys and girls, I'm not using anything artificial to thicken this, so over time this will cook down and become more concentrated. And I won't add in the beans just yet, but now is the time to add in my little Trini friends. And let's be respectful, because this, boys and girls, is a really hot one. So there you go. I think half a teaspoon of that will be more than enough to spike up that one, and I think we can go a little bit more on the Moruga red, because I want the flavour from the Moruga red, because it has a very distinct and delicious flavour. Let's get that. I'm in trouble getting it out of there. There we go. It's also a bit shy, so let's go with a level teaspoon of Moruga red. Oh, it smells great! Wow, what a smell! It's a dried chili pepper, of course. It's a dried hot pepper, but it has a really fruity smell. It's a super smell. Let's have a sniff of the scorpion. Scorpions are basically weaponised hot peppers. Let's have a smell of that. Oh my god, that again, that's got that quite nice sweet smell about it. Ever so slightly reminiscent of peaches. Really interesting. Alright, okay, so now I'm going to bring that all to the boil, as you see I'm doing now, and I'm going to reduce that now to a simmer. I'm going to put the lid on and I'm going to walk away for an hour. Alright, an hour later, lifting the lid, and this is the point where I'm going to introduce the beans to it, but I also, while it's like it is, I'm going to taste it for, just taste it, see the seasoning, see everything's right. Okay, let's have a try that. Oh, nice and spiky. It needs a little bit of salt, not much of anything else, and I'll chuck the beans in right now. So that's the whole can of beans going in. That's all good. Give it a stir to mix. And then I'm going to put some salt Just a bit of salt. It doesn't need much of anything else. A little bit of salt. Give it a stir. Test it with a clean spoon. That is hot. That is very, very spicy. Right, I'm going to cover that and simmer it for another 20 minutes and then it'll be done. There we go, it's thickened up quite nicely. I left the lid off for the last 10 minutes to let it thicken up a little bit, and adjusted it once more with a little bit of salt, and now that's ready to serve up. So there we have it. Put that on there. Generous portion of chili. Serving it on a bed of white rice, white long grain rice. I like it with just with white rice because the blandness of the rice contrasts really nicely with the spiciness of the chili. And you can see the beans there in there as well. And what I like to do with this is I just like to sprinkle on a little bit of cheddar on top, and my brother likes that. A little bit of grated cheese on top. It gives it a little depth of flavour. I prefer mine served in a bowl, but I can show you that in a sec. There's my one. I like it in the bowl, and I'll put a little bit of cheese on top of that because I can. And there you go. Chili con carne with the additional heat of Moruga red and scorpion peppers. These are two signature peppers from Trinidad. Enjoy.